Let's do another recording. Gosh, 3 videos one day. Let's see. It's the quality of not having to edit. Okay. My map HUD assembly that I mentioned in the last video. Again, I'm one of small form factor stuff. I like compiling stuff into as small of a form factor as possible. This is already on the workshop, so I'm not going to dive too awfully far into the logic of how this thing works. All that is important to know is a physics sensor, a button that is set to be on all the time, and this microcontroller. And this is going to be how you configure it. Fuel level is going to go to whatever fuel source you have. This could be anything. You can actually relabel it in the Lua script, and I'll show you how to do that momentarily. You can also extend this microcontroller to take in as many data inputs as you want. It's very nice. And then it takes in your seat data, physics sensor data, and then it outputs a single map out to the seat, or two if you're running dual seats and doing something weird like I'm doing with this vehicle. It's fine. And the entire assembly doesn't require electricity. Note that the physics sensor does require electricity to give you your GPS coordinates. This sensor, as I mentioned in a previous video, I think a couple videos ago, this thing can give you your rough position after you lose power, and I'll showcase that here in a moment. The channel toggle for the map is just going to be like your 1 through 6 buttons on your seat, again, so you have that full non-electricity based redundancy. And if that's important, you can set it to 1, you can set it to 6, whatever key you want it to be. I just set it to 1 by default because that's what works for me. Or you can set it to a different channel and use like your spacebar or something if you want to do that. So let's go take a look at the microcontroller itself. I tried to label everything as much as I could, roughly, but, whatever. The logic got kind of confusing, and that's why I'm going to skim over a lot of the stuff. A lot of this is just reading physics sensor data and working with it. And then also like running through a weird counting system over here to basically like keep track of time after you lose power. So this is like kind of like the power law system down here. It keeps like your current X and Y value position saved inside the chip for whatever was last known, and then it starts counting. And then it starts adding whatever it calculates for your total distance traveled from your original last known position to your map. This makes it to where your map still works even if you lose power. So you know where your vehicle's at all times. Basically, it's a very simplistic system of the missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't type of deal. It's the same type of like differential that you're taking, just at a much simpler level and working off velocities instead of accelerations. Which, thank goodness, StormWorks lets me use velocities because accelerations really suck sometimes. They suck to deal with. You have to multiply by time twice, and it doesn't always work out great. And then the Lua scripting part, I ran 2 Lua scripts. You could get away with running 1. I just was separating it at the time of making it. So the first one draws the map and gets all of the stuff working initially. And then the second one draws all of the other things that you'll see on screen here in just a minute. I went through, you can see where I've optimized some things and just made it to where you can add more strings if you wanted to. So if you wanted to add more things to be inputted, you could just like copy and paste this down and then run it again because it just expands the array. And I'll show that off here in just a minute, but I want to show it in a functioning vehicle first. So first things first, I'm gonna grab everything that's here first, and well, at least attempt to. Copy it. Cool, thank you. And now I don't need the submarine any longer. Where is my vehicle at? Cool, this works. My hydrogen test vehicle, which I showcased in another previous video showing off the hydrogen fuel cell system, where somebody left an awesome comment. I want to give them a shout out because they figured something out on their own that I had kind of already started to learn but never enacted it. You don't need 2 tanks for both of the gas. The ratio isn't right. There's, water's made up of, I give a color representation here. It's made up of like 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogen molecules. So obviously the balance of your tanks are going to be different. The game accounts for this kind of, with the hydrogen tanks being more full because hydrogen's less dense, I think. I'll have to double check that once I spawn this in. But it's not perfect, and you can rebalance your tanks more efficiently. You also only need 1 valve. You don't need 2 valves. Don't run 2 valves. 1 valve's way better and more effective. But yeah, anyways, I'm straying from my point. Seat data. Let's take that in and output data here for video to the headset. We're not going to really be able to showcase the power law system here, but we'll see. Okay, so that's all good. That's all good. Fuel level, I'm not gonna. I guess we'll take tank pressure for fuel level. It's good enough, right? And I think that's all I need. So if I go to the vehicle here, you can see it's giving me my X position, my speed, my altitude, and my fuel level, which in this case is the tank pressure of the tank that I selected. So it's just a very simplistic readout of your data because I didn't want to get too creative with like some sort of like visual animations. But if you activate the map, sorry, it's kind of like rough to see here, but you see it's roughly tracking the position. You can change the cursor to whatever you would like, and don't yell at me. I know it's not centered. StormWorks is dumb. But even in the case of like loss of power, your map it won't recenter to 0, 0, which is the value it's going to get from an unpowered GPS. If I don't wreck the vehicle, that'd be great. Looking up and down zooms in and out, by the way, just to make the control scheme simpler. So you won't ever like lose track of where you're at. And that is the basics of the map HUD assembly. And we'll go through and add another node to it so I can showcase how to do that, because it's not the most simplistic thing to do. I'm sure there's a way to make it easier, but whatever. I included fuel because fuel is a common need. So let's see here. Property number, don't need that anymore. Let's add another node. I'm out of space here, so let's do that. And that extra node is actually going to be a number input, and we're going to say battery level because that's important on this vehicle, given that it's, electric. It's a hybrid of some variety. Find wherever that was placed in a really non-convenient spot, but that's okay. And we're going to add another channel here. Channel 7. I don't want to see any comments on the funny joke. It's not worth it. Don't do it. I'll ban you all. So now that's going in for channel 7. So now if I come over here to my data script here, we can tab down. Battery equals and put, you could just copy paste get the script, and its syntax is so fun. So now it's sort of the battery input. And then I am going to just simply copy this down and do that. And instead of saying fuel, I'm going to say bat for battery. And this will be changed over to the battery value that we have collected up there at the top from the 7th piece. And mind you, I'm not making any of the changes. I'm not like displaying it out anywhere else because I'm already displaying the array, and all I've done is added to the array. And all of the logic should already be built in. Assuming I didn't break everything. I didn't. Cool. All the logic and everything's already built in to handle adding an additional piece to the array. So if you come over here, you can do this with as many values as you want. Now you can see battery is just sitting right there, and it's no longer an issue. Turn off infant electric for this vehicle. You can see the battery starting to drain. And as battery drains, the valves open up to run the hydrogen system, just like as in the first hydrogen fuel cell tutorial I made. And as I stop, you can see there is no regen braking on this vehicle because it's very dumb. That was just charged by the hydrogen fuel cells, which will start to stop. They'll start to stop running, if that makes any sense. They'll stop running whenever the battery's full, which is ideally the best way to run it. But you can see we just have, as I was showcasing, we now have that extra battery piece there. And you can do that with as many values as you like. Just copy, go down a line, and it's done. You're good to go. But anyways, I think that'll conclude the map HUD assembly and tutorial, I guess, on what I've created there and showcasing it. Again, feel free to use it however you like. If you want to make changes to it, like round the corners of the map and make it look all pretty and stuff for your own vehicle, by all means go for it. You can hook it up to a map table with like minimal modifications and do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. Use it however you wish. I encourage it, just like with all of my other stuff that I've stated before. Return this to the workbench, and I think I'll conclude the video here.